Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Ivar Nygaards, and as you see, I sit in my car. I'm born and bred on the west coast of Norway, and now I sit here on the parking lot in the town called Stavanger. This was the safest place I could think of to storytell in these weird times. So welcome to Drive-In, Inside Out, Drive-In Stories, or Stories from the Car. Well, ours are weird time, but not as weird as the king I'm going to tell you about experienced. He had a really weird time because he had bought a tree for his princess so the princess could sit and take her tea in the shadow, but the tree never ceased to grow. It just grew and threatened to tear down the walls of his castle, and the roots, yes, they drank up all the water from his well, so he had two problems. Well, of course they tried to chop it down, but the axes bounced and nobody succeeded, so he put up a note. He put up a note, or even a poster, on every church door in his lands, in every parish. And Peter and Paul, and he who they called the Ashlad because he loved sitting by the fire dreaming, they just happened to pass by the church when the sheriff put up the poster. And Peter and Paul just read the poster. It said, "The man who can fell the tree and dig the well, he would be pricely rewarded. He would not only get half the kingdom, but he will also get the princess's hand in marriage." So Peter and Paul had just ran to their mother, got food for the journey, and were off. Espen, I just lingered for a while and read the poster very thoroughly twice. Then he went home. Well, there was a little bit food left, so he got it and started walking after his brothers. It was a nice day. Nice spring day. Sun shone from a clear blue sky, and there was birds singing, and Espen enjoyed himself. And he heard this noise, strange noise, chop, 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 up it said, and being curious, he went into the forest to find out what it was. And there, chopping down trees at a tremendous space and chopping them into logs, was an axe. Espen said, "Hold, axe, what are you doing?" "I'm chopping. What else? That's what axes do." "Yes, but this seems futile," said Espen. Could I provide you with a purpose? Would you like that?" "Yes," said the axe, "I would love a purpose. This is a bit tiring standing here just chopping." "So yeah, you come with me," said Espen, and axe, being a bad walker, he jumped into Espen's rucksack, and Espen went back to the road and continued his journey, enjoying the sun and the birds singing in the sky. And then suddenly he heard a noise, a strange noise. It couldn't be human, he thought, and it said it was shump bump, very rhythmic and fast. Being curious, Espen went into the wood, into the forest, and there in the clearing he saw a spade digging 10 holes this way, 10 holes that way, filling the holes, digging them up again and again and again at a tremendous pace, fast as lightning. And Espen cried out, "Well, Spade, hold on a moment. What are you doing?" "Well, what do spades do? We dig." Yeah, I can see that, but this looks futile, says Espen. Would you like to have a purpose? Could I provide you a purpose? Would you come with me then? Yes, I would love to, said the spade. And being a bad walker, it jumped into Espen's rucksack and said hello to the axe. And Espen went back to the road. And as the shadows grew longer, he caught up with his brother by a dry brook. It was not entirely dry. There was a trickle of water at the bottom, enough to fill a cup if you were very thirsty and had patience. I wonder why this brook is dry, Espen said. I found out in the morning. Come morning. Well, his brothers just left laughing about this. Oh, you come too late to get the princess, they said. Well, said Espen, we'll see. So he crawled up along the dry brook until the end up on the mountain. There he found a nut. The nut had a wet rag in his mouth, and that's why the brook was dry. The water didn't flow from the nut. Would you like to have a purpose for your water? Espen asked the nut, and the nut answered, "Mm." Well, Espen took that for a yes, and just took the nut with the wet rag in his rucksack, where the axe said hello and the spade said hello, and well, the nut said just "ah." I took that as a hello. And then he sped on for the castle, and coming over the last hill, he saw a strange sight. Just before the castle, just approaching the gate, he saw the line of contenders, men with spade and axes, and his brothers just in the middle of the line. But on the other side, he saw a very sore sight. It was sad. It was a line where men standing with their hands over their ears, with blood trickling through their fingers. Thought so, said Espen, for himself. It said so on the poster. Every man who failed to cut down the tree or dig the well would lose their ears and had their heads shaven and put out on the island just off the coast. So, well, as the queue on the other side and the wailing for the other queue increased, well, so the line of contenders shrinked. Men with axes and spades, they were suddenly getting second thoughts. Oh, I have something important to do at home. My wife is giving birth, whatever. And soon there were just Espen, Peter and Paul left. And the royal executioner himself came out and asked, "Are there any more?" Oh, Peter said, "Come this far." And I went in. The screams and the screams. Then the royal executioner came out again and asked, "Any more?" And they could see his big pair of scissors, it was a sheep scissors, dripping with Peter's blood. And Paul thought, well, I have to follow my brother. And so he did. Then the king himself came out and said to Espen, do you really want to do this? If it's poverty that's driven you, I'll gladly give you money. Oh, said Espen, I brought some friends and they might help me. So you can bring everyone you want, said the king. But, well, that's, if you are that stupid, well, it's on your head. So Espen went in, took out the axe, and the axe cut down the tree and turned it into logs so they had firewood for years and years. And the spade, it dug a hole deeper, and you could think, and the nut filled it with water, the sweetest water you can imagine. And then Espen went over to the princess and offered his hand, and she smiled, and they lived happily ever after.